The first algorithm we'll look at is designed to judge the beauty or
Can I
attractiveness
pause
of your
you?
face.
No, it won't. The beauty and attractive. Do
We'll
I have
give
to
you
look
a
at the
score
camera?
between
Will that
0
help?
and 10.
7.5.
Some
Oh,
idea
nice.
of how
Thank you.
attractive you are can be very valuable. For
I
example,
always
dating
rank
services
myself
like
slightly
Tinder
above
are used to
5,
match people
but
who
not
are
very
about
high
equally
above 5.
attractive. Some social media companies, such as TikTok, are known to promote
I'm
content
gonna
from
click.
attractive
Should I click
people
20?
more. To make an algorithm
I'm not-
like this, you
well, I'll
need
be
to train it
23 soon,
using
so
tens
25
of
might
thousands of
work.
example photos that each already have a beauty score.
Well, that's not
Rating
true.
all these photos is often done by students at
This can't be it
universities.
actually doing it.
If you ask Chinese students to give their opinions, their cultural perceptions of beauty will transfer over into the algorithm, which might lead to unpredictable effects when it's used to judge people from other cultures.
Should I click 20 or 25?
I wanted to show you an example of this, but I couldn't
Can I
even
make
get
you
the
shut the
algorithm
fuck up?
Next, let's look at an algorithm that's designed to judge your age.
No, refresh. 25? Okay.
So let's talk about your face.
So knowing that I can't pause
Specifically,
it.
we'll be looking at machine learning algorithms that try to judge your face.
Oh, I can put it on the Canon.
By giving access to your camera, you'll be able to experience these algorithms yourself.
Really?
But
Oh,
don't
wait,
worry,
hold on.
everything
Give me
will
the
run
Canon.
locally in your own browser. No data is sent to the cloud in any way. At the end of the experience, you will be able to share some anonymous data with us if you want, but it's totally up to you. The first algorithm we'll look at is designed to judge the beauty or attractiveness of
Let's see
your
what
face.
beauty it gives me.
We'll give you a
4.4
score
with just a
between 0
black
and
screen.
10.
Having some idea of how attractive you are can be very valuable. For example, dating services like Tinder use it to match people who are about equally attractive. Some social media companies, such as TikTok, are known to promote
It seems to think I'm a
content
7,
from
which is
attractive
nice.
people more.
Makes me feel good about
To
myself.
make an algorithm like this, you need to train it using tens of thousands of examples.
If I'm a 7.9 now, just wait till I get some facial hair. We'll be killing it.
Often done by students at universities. If you ask Chinese students to give their opinions, their cultural perceptions of beauty will transfer over into the algorithm, which
That's
might lead to unpredictable effects when it's used to judge people from other cultures.
Everyone has different opinions
I
on
wanted to show you an example of
cultures.
this, but I couldn't even.
Why
get
do you
the
keep going up?
algorithm to
I'm not an
detect people's faces properly.
8.2. Did you give me a
If you have a low
9.6 last
score,
time?
It might just be because the judgment of these algorithms is so dependent on how they were trained. Of course, if you got a really high score, that's just because you weren't
I am
beautiful.
not a lady. Don't rank me as a lady.
Next,
That's
let's look at an
transphobic.
algorithm that's designed to judge your age.
What does
And
no
what
mean?
you'll see here, as well as with many others, is that if you move your head around,
Lowest
you'll
age
be able to
prediction.
influence the outcome quite a bit.
Some stores use these algorithms to learn more about their visitors.
How old is it gonna think I am?
They can also be used to guess who might be lying about your age on dating websites.
It does not
If
think
you
I
happen
am
to
20
share your
years of
age
age.
bracket earlier, we can now figure out whether or not you are a liar.
I mean, it's not wrong.
The following algorithm will take a look
I'm
at
not.
tries
I am
to
a
determine
man.
your gender.
I am.
Here you can once again see that the country or culture in which an algorithm was constructed can have a big
It's
influence on how they
61%.
categorize and judge people. This algorithm would probably flip out at any point.
Our next algorithm on the menu
Yes,
tries to determine
success.
your body mass index, or BMI, from
From
just
my
looking at your
face?
To
Okay.
make an algorithm like this, you'll once again need
Max, what is my
thousands of
BMI?
photos of people that are tagged with their body mass index.
You know more about BMI than I
In
do.
practice, I found that the required data is often simply scraped from the internet. For example, some researchers who work at Google took these pictures from online communities where people share their weight loss progress.
Assuming I
A
weigh
lot of these algorithms
130.
work by first measuring 7 proportions in your face. One of these is calculated by measuring the area above your eyes, which is why you can get a lower
Oh,
score by raising
interesting.
your eyebrows.
By connecting to this website, you also
I have
share your
72
IP
years to
address,
live.
and that was used to guess where
But
you
that's
are.
not correct because
Now that we have your gender,
I listed
your
myself as
age,
85
country of origin,
or 85.
and the BMI
25.
prediction, we can combine these and try to create a
81
life
years to
expectancy
live.
prediction.
These types of predictions are essentially
I'm gonna be
created
fucking old,
by
man.
stacking educated guesses on top of each other,
21,
which makes the
22?
result
Eh.
even more imprecise. However,
That's what I was
that
thinking.
doesn't stop insurance agencies from purchasing these types
I'm
of
abnormal.
predictions, because to them it's better than nothing.
Being a man is normal, so what if I'd
Don't you
scored
come a
as
little
woman?
closer?
Don't take this the wrong way, but you have a very unique face.
Ah.
That's why, just like you have a fingerprint, you also have a face print. This is usually expressed in 128 numbers. This face print makes it possible to recognize you wherever you go. For example, Russian company FindFace offers a service where you can take a
thirsty.
picture of a stranger and then it will try to find the social media profiles that belong to that person.
Giving my fingerprint, baby.
Similarly, an American company
I love that
called
it's moved
Clearview
my
AI allows police
camera
officers
box
to
up to
upload
the
a photo
corner.
and then it will show a list of all the web pages where it found the same person. You can now buy security cameras that have this capability built in. For example, in the United States, the pharmaceutical chain Rite Aid used these cameras to recognize people who had previously shoplifted them.
Ah.
By the way, you didn't actually need to get
criminals.
closer to the camera for this to work.
Oh, well,
A
then why do you
small
say get
thumbnail is
closer?
enough.
Fuck
I
you.
just want to see if you do it.
Well, you're the one in charge.
I
Of
also
course I
have to
did.
admit something. While this website was loading, I secretly
They're
recorded
coming.
your emotional reaction when the little puppy was shown.
This
We
is
love
done
doggos.
using an algorithm that tries to determine
I did
your
come
emotional
closer.
state
Why'd you say
based
no?
on
I
your
did come
facial
closer to the
expression.
screen.
A company called HireView
Mr.
offers
Sexy
online
Pants
video
11. Oh,
interviewing
thank you.
tools. They claim to be able to find the best job applicants by analyzing their facial expressions, voice, and vocabulary. This practice has been criticized for giving a lot of credence to algorithms, but at the same time making it very hard to know what people are actually being judged on.
As a bonus, for the last few minutes, your surfing behavior has
Others
also
were
been
sad.
recorded.
You may not realize it, but a lot of websites have little bits of code from
Oh,
companies
wow.
such as Visual Website Optimizer
Well, it's just where my
and
camera.
Hotjar
It's just where it's been
embedded
sitting.
into them. This makes it possible to record your mouse movements, as well as any text you may have entered into forms. These services can help improve how a website functions, but it also means a large amount of behavioral data is being collected by these third parties.
Collect my behavior.
As you probably realize, your data is increasingly collected and combined to create all kinds of predictions about you. By comparing your data to that of others,
So
you
it'd
can
make
be placed
me
in
more
all kinds
abnormal?
of categories. These profiles are not just
I don't
used to
believe
show you
this. I'm
better
guessing not a lot of
advertisements,
people have used
but they're
this.
starting to impact all kinds of aspects of your life,
I don't mind.
ranging from getting cheap
I'm
car loans or
50%
insurance
normal?
to finding a job or even a date. While you can try to protect yourself from this tracking online, where, for example, you can delete your cookies, this is much harder when it comes to your
Well, I guess
face,
I did
which
get
you
6
can't
no's
really
and 6
delete.
yeses, so I guess that makes sense.
That's why this type of biometric tracking is much more inescapable and can feel much more constricting.
It thinks I'm a 7?
As face
I'm never gonna
recognition
get over it.
technology
Thinks I'm an
moves into our daily
8.2.
lives, it can create this subtle but pervasive feeling of being watched and judged all the
It thinks
time.
I'm above average in
You might feel more
attractiveness?
pressure to behave normally, which for an algorithm means being more average.
Interesting.
That's why we have to protect our human right to privacy, which is essentially our right to be different. You could say that privacy is our right to be imperfect.
I did come closer, so I don't know
we have
why
to
it
be very
said
careful
no.
when implementing this technology.
I very much
As with
came
all new
closer.
innovations, it comes with great stories of how it can improve our lives in short term.
According to AI.
But with
The
biometric
AI thinks
systems,
I'm
we have to be
attractive.
very
Maybe I should
careful
change my
and really
sexual
think
preference
through
to AI.
what it could do to people and society in the long term if, bit by bit, we allow this surveillance culture to develop.
I am 100% normal. I am averagely normal. Beautiful. I love. Okay, can you give me my camera back? Can I have my camera back, please? We're gonna block the camera here, so it should bring it back. Can I have my camera back, please? Hello? Hello? I don't know if it's gonna bring my webcam back before I close out of this. Have very trans right down the middle, honestly. There we go. Give me my camera back. Thank you. Well, it didn't do that, but you know, whatever. It's fucking fine. Why is it so big? Oh my god. It's fucking massive. Is it even changing in size? I can't tell. What is this? There we go. Jesus, fuck, it must have been massive. That was so weird. I had to deactivate and reactivate it to get it to actually come back on, so I think that fucked up the shape of it. Make myself itty bitty in the corner. This is, I am 50% normal, and apparently an 8.2 on the beauty scale, and I'm apparently 9 years old, but still a man, and a life expectancy of 81. It thinks I'm 9. I would have given it like 16 to 18, but 9? I don't look 9. I know I look younger than my age because, you know, transitioning. Yeah, but it listed it as 9 in the results. 57% are sad. I mean, my interactions were crazy. Well, that was fun. Alright. Am I the asshole? We're gonna go with top for this month. You gonna show me this month's posts? Oh, it's not AITA anymore. It's just r/am I the asshole. Okay. I was confused. Top for this month. Or is a 50% chance you are the asshole? I've actually read this one before. I was watching an Am I the Asshole thing on TikTok like last week. So there's some of these I might have read already or heard already, but we will read them again. We're gonna zoom in so you all can see. I'm also gonna move this over here. Okay. Am I the asshole for storming off from my sister's wedding after she dead-named my son? Come on, scroll to the right spot, please. There we go. Okay, I, 45-year-old single father of 3, am a single father of 3. Their mom died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old, 15-year-old, and 14-year-old Max. Connor was born female. He is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago and has now socially transitioned, not yet physically. Nice. Wow, he came out at 10. Nice. My sister, 38 female, just got married. Me and my sons were also invited. My family has known that he is trans for about 2 years now. Some have adjusted well, some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was really super well organized, down to the last detail. She wanted all of the men to wear a shirt and tie, and then women sundresses. I texted her a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding, and she said, "Where's dead name's dress?" I was a bit surprised and told her not to dead name my son, and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of the men, or we aren't coming. She said fine, and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie, and didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, the card said dead name. I went to my sister, and she said she used, quote, their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving, and she told me, don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding. They can be a guy any other day. I called her a bigot, and we left. The family says I ruined her wedding. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. Your sister's an asshole. Asgardian of the whole galaxy. That's a really good title. That's great. Yeah. Well, how about you be a man any other day, Amber? Makes me think of the Contra video. With that attitude, an attitude like that, I'm sure the sister will be a bride again before too long. So ruining this wedding is no big issue. Honestly. Long con idea though. She got married, right? She was Miss Smith, let's say. She's now Miss Jones, right? Conveniently forget the Jones and call her Smith. I mean, that's what you've known her as your whole life. It's so hard to change what you've called someone their whole life, even if they prefer you call them something else. Oh yeah, I love your birth certificate says male name. Yeah, it also says I'm 7 pounds, so. I don't remember how much I weighed at birth. It wasn't very much, I don't think. Shocking, I know. Sky versus Daisy, yeah. I usually talk about her as Sky if I'm talking to someone who's not seen the show yet, so that I don't spoil for them that it's Daisy Johnson. But if I'm talking to someone who knows the show, I just say Daisy. Because, you know, some people haven't seen the show, but they know the comics, so I wouldn't want to spoil for them that Daisy's in the show, you know. Unless that's going to get them to watch the show, in which case I will spoil it all day long. Took me forever. I don't think it took me too long. It took me a few episodes, I think. Maybe like 5 or 6 episodes before it stopped being like a slip-up. Yeah, clearly not the asshole. Your sister is the asshole. And I see why this is the highest rated one on here. Alrighty, next one. Transparent Lamau. She doesn't seem like a Daisy. I still think Sky works better. I kind of agree, but, you know. Okay. Am I the asshole for throwing them out of a house that we own? Son and future in-laws decided to exclude his family from wedding. They thought Son owned the house, not us. I'm very confused by this title. It was really difficult to switch back to Sky. But I could have called her Daisy and just been like, oh, she finds out her real name later, you know, like, because she's adopted. She's like foster care, so she picked her own name. I could have just said it was that, but I was trying to not spoil things. Even though I'm sure I'd spoiled a lot of stuff before showing you the show, because it's a great show and I like talking about it. Okay, my wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house in Pennsylvania that my son lives in. Our son went to college in Pennsylvania and wanted to stay in the area, so we bought the house as a second home. We live in New Jersey and commute to Manhattan for work. We figured that he would have a place to live and we could visit every so often and spend some quality time together. We pay the taxes and services maintenance on the house. Our son pays for his groceries and the house utilities. All was going well for a few years. Our son meets a girl and they get serious. We met her and she seems nice enough. They announce their engagement and she moves into the house with our son. Now for the problem, the wedding. We hold a little get to know you barbecue at the Pennsylvania house. My son and daughter are there, as are our son's fiance and her parents and sisters. We all seem to be getting along well. My wife, daughter, and the fiance go into the house along with her mother and sisters and my son. A few minutes later, my wife and daughter come out and are really upset. They come over and tell me we're leaving and driving back to New Jersey. I try to find out what happened. Once we get back to New Jersey, they calm down and they tell me our son and his fiance along with her family didn't want us at the wedding. According to what I was told, we're not their kind of people. I was livid. I called my son and asked him what the hell this was about. He tells me that her family feel we are not good enough and will embarrass them at a family wedding, and that we are all uninvited from the wedding. Okay. I let a week go by to calm myself down and drive back to the Pennsylvania house. The new future in-laws are in the house along with the fiance. It appears that they all moved into the house. They ask me why I'm there, and I tell them since that we aren't invited to the wedding, I was coming over to talk to my son. They tell me to leave their house, and I lost it. I told them that they had 30 days to get out. Tell my son I'm selling the house, and he could find somewhere else to live with all of you. I go to a realtor in town and list the house for sale. They call my son at work and tell him what I said. Apparently they thought that he owned the house. He calls me and asks why I'm selling his house. I tell him I paid for it along with the taxes on it and it is mine. He was living there rent-free, but since he doesn't want us in his new life, he has to get out. I tell him the same as I told his future in-laws, that they have 30 days to get out. I get a lawyer and I get them evicted. Am I the asshole for taking a hard stance on this? He is my son, but the in-laws seem to take over and we no longer count. No, I don't think you're the asshole. I think your son's a bit of an asshole. How old is your son? He didn't say. I'm curious to know how old the son is. We know post-college, because he went to college in PA and then stayed in the area. Wow, okay. Very much not the asshole. Wow, alright. Not the asshole. I want an update on this because it sounds nuts. What kind of people do they think you are? How is your son okay with excluding his whole family? Do you think your son's been brainwashed by his fiance? How did you think the house was his when he didn't pay the taxes on it? So many questions. Crazy. Imagine your parents paying for you to live rent-free in a home that's not their own. Why is this listed in red? Not the asshole, they moved into your house. That's so bizarre. I don't think they're the asshole because the son just started going along with the in-law family when they're not even in-laws yet, to be honest. No, definitely the asshole. The son is quite an asshole. The in-laws suck ass. I find it hilarious he's so entitled to the house even though he didn't expect you to take it back. I can't believe he thought that house was his when he didn't fucking pay for it. Like, how? That is very entitled. Like, for example, I owned my car, but only because I paid it off to my parents. My parents bought it initially, and then I gradually paid it off to them. And now I pay for the insurance, and it's not in my name yet because I still pay a different insurance than the one that would actually be on my car. But it's still my car, you know what I mean? Because I've paid for the whole thing, you know what I mean? That's crazy. Why would you let people who openly say you aren't good enough live rent-free in your house? Honestly. Excluding his family from the wedding for ridiculousness is pretty big fuck you to your family. And he's experiencing the natural consequences of his actions, yeah. And if he's been living rent-free in this house for several years, he should have enough money to save up to go live in a nice little apartment or even buy a small home, you know? Technically, it's their scrap heap then. Try and find a loophole to get a new car. Whew. Do I have... Hold on. I think I have caffeine in the fridge. I'm gonna go get some of that. You know what? It's not nice of Jimmy to call my car scrap. You're not wrong. I might restart the stream then. Refresh it and see if it's still behind. Sometimes your phone is what gets behind. Waiting to see how behind we are. Only about 5 to 10 seconds, nothing crazy. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds. We're 10 seconds behind. I think that's the normal behind. That's the normal delay. Okay. Only about 10 seconds behind, nothing crazy, so. Alrighty, next one. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's friends I make twice what he does when they called me a gold digger and he didn't defend me? I'm gonna go with no. First impression, no, you are not the asshole. But let's read the paragraph. I'm in a relationship with a guy who also works in tech. He makes 68K and I make 130K. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Y'all are rolling in money. Can I have some? I'm a mechanical engineer at a robotics startup, and he works at a more stable job doing programming at a large company. He brought me to meet his friends at a party, and they asked me about myself. His friends mostly work in tech too, and talked about themselves in terms of their jobs. I told them I'm a hiker, and I do archery, and I love road trips and camping, and riding dirt bikes, etc. Basically, I'm talking about my hobbies, because work is just a way to get paid and do the stuff I love. It's not how I define myself, and it doesn't come to mind when someone wants me to tell them about myself. Fair. The first thing that comes to mind when someone asks me what I like to do is it's definitely not my job, which I don't have right now, but it won't be my job. And it is never my job. Is never the first thing I want to bring up, because fuck my job. One of his friends asked about work, and I said, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about work at a party. I spent my whole day sweating my ass off in 95-degree heat trying to replace this busted-ass motor just to find the replacement part was also fucked. I wasn't lying or trying to downplay that I have a good job. That really is how I spent my day. I wasn't in the mood to talk shop at a party. I'm currently building a PC, so I get their point. Some other conversations came up casually that probably also made me seem poorer, like me saying that car dealership repairs were a ripoff, telling my boyfriend that my childhood neighbor trailer caught on fire, and I was going to visit and help her out. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was literally just talking about my life, but I guess I gave the impression I was poorer. It got later in the night, and everyone was getting drunk, and some of his friends, not close ones though, were making jokes about me growing up in a trailer and being a gold digger, and being ready to jump to a richer guy. Really misogynistic shit, honestly, since they don't even know me and seem to assume all girls are gold diggers, I think is what she meant to type. He didn't say anything. He later said it was because he smoked weed and he gets quiet as he has trouble carrying on quick conversations when he's high, which is fair. But regardless, I felt hurt that he didn't say anything. I got irritated with his friends and asked, why the hell would you say that when I make twice what he does? His friends went quiet for a second and I continued saying, there ain't no gold to dig up here, not with him or anyone at this party. So do y'all think I'm cheap or do you all think I'm stupid? My boyfriend wanted to leave the party shortly after and he was upset with me for telling everyone I make twice what he does. I said I would have held my tongue if he'd checked his friends himself, but he didn't say anything, so I wasn't about to let them talk to me like that. He said it was humiliating and now everyone thinks I'm a bitch, and I flippantly said, at least they know I'm a rich bitch. He was angry that I embarrassed him when I spoke up, and I was angry I had to say anything at all because his friends were talking shit. So it should be on him to check them. Stuff is still tense. Am I the asshole for explaining why I'm not a gold digger? I think this is an amazing story, and I absolutely love everything about it. It's fucking fantastic. Also, would you mind? Could you send me just 3? Could he send me that 8K he makes a year? Just once, just one deposit of 8K. I don't think you're the asshole here. I think it's, I don't think anyone's the asshole here except for the drunk friends, because his excuse for why he didn't say anything makes plenty of sense, because sometimes when you're high, it's hard to comprehend what's going on around you. I think you absolutely should stand up for yourself, especially if your partner's not doing it, especially against their own friends. That's always a really fucked up situation. And if he can't understand why you would blow up like that, then you need to have a deeper conversation with him, because he should understand the levels of misogyny that go into thinking that, oh, you're just with this guy for his money, not even taking into account that you might make more money than him. Like, Max and I live together, and even when I had a job, Max makes significantly more money than I do, because Max actually has, like, a real job and not, like, a retail job, you know what I mean? Like, a desk job in an office generally pays more than hard labor jobs like retail or Amazon or, you know, stuff like that. And it would be really misogynistic to assume that just because Max is smaller and more feminine, that Max makes less money. That wouldn't make any fucking sense and would be very much wrong. And I wouldn't be mad at anyone for standing up for themselves, for being like, you think I'm gold digging from this poor hoe over here? She really does make double what he makes. That's impressive, girl. I mean, good on you, queen. I mean, ladies in STEM be killing it, let's be honest. I dreamed that I worked for Kroger last night. So you mean you had a nightmare last night? Because that sounds like a fucking nightmare to me. So your boyfriend was too high to say anything to support you, but sober enough to complain when you rightly called him out and his rude ass mates. Yeah. But it's okay for her to be humiliated, but not him. Yeah. His friends sound like those dudes that whine that they can't get girlfriends and think they deserve supermodels, but then they're complete misogynists. Yeah, I agree. I agree with these statements here. That would be hell for you. I mean, it'd be hell for Max, too. I don't think Max would enjoy working at Kroger. Yeah, that's how work life is when you work in retail. It's hell. Which is why I'm not looking forward to going back to it. Am I the cloaca? I'm sorry, what? What? This is a weird... I don't like it. Alrighty, next one. Am I the asshole for blowing up at my husband for messing with my alarm and causing me to miss my exam? I'm gonna say no, starting at the beginning here. I hate that it has it listed as not the asshole here, because that kind of gives me a gist of what everyone below says, but I still like to make a judgment based off the first sentence before I, like, move on to read the rest of it. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. I hate how... That's interesting and very specific. Is that who you were talking to when I made my way into the bedroom this morning? Because I heard you talking while I was sitting on the toilet before coming into the bedroom, but I couldn't make out what you were saying. But you were very clearly talking to somebody. Wasn't me, though, because I wasn't there. I do wonder how much better you're going to sleep after this medication's fully out of your system. Although the new medication could affect your sleep pattern as well, so... Oh yeah, we have 2 fills to watch tonight. Oh my god, they finally sent me my Sony verification code. Fuck you. 48 minutes ago. I was doing that, like, 50 to 70 minutes ago. Yeah, you were. I feel like I catch you talking every other night. Like, it's pretty common these days. And I do wonder if that's gonna be less of an issue once you get off these drugs. Because it wasn't something you did a lot before you started the medication. You did it before, but not this much, you know what I mean? So, you know. The funny thing is you're never loud when you talk in your sleep, which is kind of frustrating because, like, I want to know what you're saying, but I can't understand what you're saying unless I'm, like, intently listening, and even then I sometimes can't tell because it's a bit of a mumble, but, you know. Max's brain always wants to talk even when asleep. Okay. I am a 23 female, have been married to my husband 26 for a year. I'm in my last year of university and been so busy for the last 2 weeks, with many projects and finals looming. My husband complains from seeing me studying and not doing activities together or hanging out with friends anymore. I've told him it's not going to last forever and that I need to focus because this is my last year and it's been the hardest, which he should understand, assuming he went to college. Or even if he didn't, he's done school, you know? The day before the exam, he wanted me to go with him to a friend's birthday party, and I refused because I was busy preparing for my exam. He pleaded with me saying it's just 1 hour and talked about how his friends will be upset if I'm not there. I said no and shut down any further discussion. He got upset and called me selfish and inconsiderate and then dropped it. Toxic. Before I went to bed, I set my alarm clock like I always do since I'm a heavy sleeper, and I stayed up late studying. The next morning, I woke up at 9 a.m. I literally freaked out and checked my alarm and found out that it was set to go off at 9:30. I had no idea how this had happened until my husband told me he did this to repay me for refusing to take 1 hour to attend the party, so he took this hour from my time. I couldn't believe it, and I absolutely blew up at him, just yelling and screaming, and left right then. He just stood there shocked from my reaction and my rage. I got dressed quickly and rushed to the university. They didn't let me into the exam hall, and I got into a lot of hassle with them to reschedule the exam, especially since I had no legit reason as to why I was late. It was awful is all I can say. I went home and my husband and I stopped speaking to each other. He kept acting as if I'd hurt his feelings and traumatized him by yelling, and that I deserved what he did since he was frustrated with my continual refusal to attend all events for the past 2 weeks. I might be wrong for not considering it, but I think my exam should be a priority over his way of teaching me a lesson. Yeah, no, you need to break up with this man. Because he's a petty bitch. You need to break up with this man. You need to divorce him now. In the bin. In the bin. I need an in the bin button. I need it really badly. Your husband wanted to actively ruin your future because of a fucking party you couldn't attend. Yeah, I would have kicked him out immediately. My husband and I... this is the OP. Okay. My husband and I started dating around the time of my second master's, and I got married after I had completed it. I'm now in a PhD program... Oh no, this isn't OP. I'm now in a PhD program. Through all of it, I've had to work insanely hard, but never has the man complained once. Your partner should be understanding the importance of your education and career. Not the asshole OP, but I strongly suggest rethinking living with this man. Did not expect this comment to blow up. I'm not able to reply to everyone. Yeah, no. Your husband is abusive. He wants to control what you do and does not support your success. Please tell your place of study that you missed the exam because you were in an abusive relationship. Leave him as soon as it is safe. Do not have a baby with this man. Yes. Do not give this man a child. He totally did this out of spite, knowing it would cause you to be late to your exam. University does not last forever, and you will be able to go out and do more fun things once it's over. It might be worth reminding him that it's actually going to be longer until you can do that now that you've missed your exam. On an unrelated note, if you simply don't want to go, that should also be fine. He doesn't need you to hold his hand everywhere. He seems disrespectful of your time, your work, and your autonomy. I agree. Even if she didn't have exams and stuff, she should still be allowed to say, nah, I don't feel like going out tonight. Have fun. Nah. Divorce this man. Drop him. In the bin. In the bin. Get in the bin. In the bin. Absolutely in the bin. Disgusting man. This is a weird title. Am I the asshole for ruining my brother's marriage because his wife left me at the pool? That is a really weird title. Okay. This whole situation is so bizarre, I still can't really process it. It doesn't feel real, but I feel scared and guilty. I, 19 female, had surgery a couple days ago to get all 4 wisdom teeth out because I have a really bad fear of dentists. They had to drug me pretty hard to do the removal. Not like laughing gas that wears off really fast, but actual IV medication, so I was pretty much unconscious during the whole thing. They told me to have a responsible adult drive me to the appointment and back because the meds they gave me would make it dangerous to drive. My mom was on a work trip and couldn't take me, so I asked my sister-in-law, 24, Bree, if she could do it, as the whole thing would only take an hour or 2. I even offered gas money because the dental office is about 45 minutes away. I would have asked my brother, but he works during the day, while Bree is a stay-at-home mom to their 2-year-old daughter, who I think was at Bree's mom's house that day. Bree agreed to take me to my appointment, and the surgery went fine. Bree waited in the lobby for me to be done. When I came out of anesthesia, I was very disoriented and nauseous, which I guess is normal. I had gauze shoved in my mouth to stop any bleeding, and Bree took me to her car after I was let go. I don't really remember much of the drive, but it felt like not enough time passed before Bree got out of the car and told me to come with her. I was really out of it and just followed her because the alternative was staying in the hot car. Long story short, we were at the pool. I was really confused, but once we were through the gate, Bree basically parked me at one of those little table benches and said she'll be back in a while. I was still trying not to puke and was really dizzy from the heat, 90 degrees plus, and the drugs, so I asked her to take me home, but she wouldn't. I guess since it was her day off and she didn't have my niece, she was meeting friends at the pool. I was starting to feel really sick and on the verge of passing out or having a panic attack, so I called my brother. I don't think he could understand me between the meds and the stuff in my mouth because he hung up, and I guess called Bree because she came stomping back over, cussing and yelling at me, and took me back to the car. I passed out on the drive home, but when we arrived, my brother had left work and met us in the driveway. He was screaming at Bree, and she was crying. I was still pretty disoriented, but my brother took me back home and stayed with me until the meds wore off. That's when he told me that he's divorcing Bree because of what she did, plus some other things that he didn't go into detail about. It's been a few days since then, and Bree has been blowing up my phone, telling me what a bitch I am, and how me tattling destroyed her family. Part of me feels bad because of my niece, and I wonder if I should have just dealt with it and waited for her to be done at the pool. No. 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 No, 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 no. You are not the asshole. What the fuck? What did I just read? Yeah, why couldn't she just take you home first and then go to the pool? What the fuck? Because after your wisdom teeth surgery, you just go home and sleep. Like, it's not like you need someone around 24/7. Like, because you go home and you sleep off the drugs. Yeah, I appreciate that she mentioned that he said that there were other reasons he was divorcing her. This was just probably the last straw. Wow. Okay. OP, you are not the reason he's getting divorced, but if you find out the reason, please come back and update, because inquiring minds want to know. Spill the marinara and Alfredo sauce. Spill the hot Darjeeling. Not the asshole, not remotely, and you did not ruin their marriage. The other things your brother didn't detail sounds like Bree's treatment of you was the last straw. Yeah. Since Bree referred to it as tattling, there's a good chance she was lying to your brother about what she was doing that day. Yeah. Oh, honey, not the asshole at all. Whilst I understand how you would think you should have sucked it up, you were also post-surgery and under the effects of heavy drugs. What she did was very irresponsible and childish. I also don't think that it's the sole reason why your brother is thinking of divorce. Sounds like the final nail in the coffin. Absolutely. Meeting friends. Yeah. With every surgery post-op, there's a risk of death, especially coming out of anesthesia. Between passing out and hitting your head on the concrete, succumbing to heat exhaustion, or simply bleeding out, you're not under good care, OP. Not the asshole. She threatened your life by taking you to that pool. Especially in 90-degree heat. Yeah, who takes a sedated person to a pool? Like Max said, she could have just taken her home and left her at home and then gone to the pool. Like, because while yes, there are these other risks, she's very unlikely to just die while sleeping off the medications and stuff, you know? That's so fucked up, dude. Alright, there is an update to this, so we're gonna read that. Find out what the tea is. Alright. It helped me a lot, and I understand now that my brother's marriage was rocky before Bree pulled the stunt in my original post. I'm not going to Reddit, but my update kept getting deleted on the Am I the Asshole sub, but a ton of folks asked for it, so here it is. Throwaway pool... Oh, they made their own... post on their own thing. I called my brother to check on things, thanked him again, and see how he and my niece were doing, and he told me some things about Bree and why he's divorcing her. I don't think she's cheated on him or anything like a lot of people in the original post thought. At least my brother never said anything about that. But y'all were right about the incident with me being the last straw that broke the camel's back, and I'm not the only victim of Bree being careless. A while back, I guess my brother came home early from work and found my niece, 2 years old, alone in their house with the front door unlocked. He called Bree 3 or 4 times with no answer, and she came in the front door right before he was able to call the cops. Apparently, she went to the convenience store like a 5-minute drive from their place and left my niece by herself. When my brother yelled at her, she said it was fine because nothing bad happened. And when he said the door was unlocked, she just said she must have forgot and that it wasn't a big deal. Her phone was silenced on the charger in their bedroom, which is why she didn't answer the call. Bree called him dramatic and told him to stop telling her how to parent and that the niece was fine for 20 minutes while she shopped for dinner stuff. Jesus Christ. My brother is taking some time off work to take care of my niece because he kicked Bree out of their house the same day I had my surgery. She was staying at a hotel that my brother is paying for, and he gave her 2 weeks, more like 1.5 now, to find a place before he quits paying for it. He says he's going for full custody because Bree is a danger to my niece and doesn't trust her anymore. I mean, that story above alone is enough to argue that. She also that she's a stay-at-home mom and not working, and your work. I mean, if he's just taking time off work and didn't like quit his job, he's just like gone on leave or something from work. Then he should have no trouble getting custody of that child, even though courts generally do tend to give the child to the mother. He's got a job, he's the one bringing in money, and there's evidence of her being negligent to the child. So she tried to argue when he kicked her out, but he threatened to call the police for what she did to me, which I guess scared her because she left. Sorry, this isn't a very exciting update, but that's all my brother would tell me. This isn't the first time Bree neglected the niece too, but he said he's doing what it takes to make sure it doesn't happen again. He also said he doesn't think Bree is completely malicious, but is extremely careless and doesn't believe her actions affect other people, which is why she can't be trusted to not hurt others while being selfish. I'm doing well after my surgery, and even after everything that happened, so thank you for the good wishes and advice. I work for CPS. One story is of a 2-year-old that got out of the house. The parents weren't being neglectful, but were asleep in the early morning, and he took advantage and left. The house was on a very busy street. We got lucky, and the baby was okay. The parents were not. They got caught in the system for years, and they were innocent. I tell you a story with a good ending. There are more escapes that end badly, but you get the idea. You do not want to depend on strangers to keep your niece alive while she figures out a doorknob. Yeah. Wow. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. Not the asshole. Very clearly not the asshole. You were drugged up. You were not the asshole. Okay. I feel like I've heard this one before, but we'll find out when I get further in. Am I the asshole? I went on vacation with my friend and her family, and they kicked me out. I got my own room and stayed. All right. I need more details because that wasn't very descriptive at all. I'm in college, and my roommate from last year, Meg, whose family is really rich, said she could bring a friend on vacation. It was kind of awkward. I was her third choice, but her family vetoed the first two because they didn't want her bringing a boy or this other female friend of hers that they disliked. Her parents bought my plane ticket and booked the resort, which I was very grateful for. I'd saved up a lot of money so I could make sure I buy my own food and activities when I'm there and treat her family to a dinner as a thank you for the ticket. But when the trip started, it was just bad. It was her, me, her mother, her father, her two father's friends, and her three brothers going. On the flight, they all got first class and got me an economy seat. But I didn't say anything because why argue about a free ticket? It's fair. The first night, they went to a grocery. It turns out they wanted to cook at the resort kitchen for the whole trip. And by they wanted to cook, it actually turned out that they wanted me and Meg to cook. I wasn't warned about this, but it turns out Meg's family is so traditional they see cooking as a woman's job, and her mom had just had hand surgery. So it was me and Meg cooking every meal for 6 men and her mom. I can't cook well. I know a couple of staple meals to feed myself, but since I rarely eat meat, I don't know how to cook it. I'm also okay at cooking for 1 or 2, but I have no practice cooking for a group of 9. Yeah, that's fucked up. All right. We're really leaning into not the asshole territory right now. I screwed it up, undercooked the chicken, overcooked some steak, and her dad was angry with me. I got short with him and told him that if he knew how to do better, he should pitch in instead of standing around criticizing. He got furious and said that he was on his vacation, and I said I was trying to have a vacation too, or did they invite me to be an unpaid domestic servant? Meg's parents and dad's friends got angry and said that I said that and started yelling at me. The argument escalated, and I sarcastically called myself the help, which is clearly what you seem to be on this trip. His dad snapped at me and told me to get out of their suite and go home. I didn't say shit about how he expected me to do that. I left and called the airline with my ticket and asked them if I could do anything to prevent anyone else from modifying or canceling my ticket, and they sent me a passcode so no changes could be made to the flight without it. Nice. Then I went to the resort so she'll be able to fly herself home with the normal ticket, the normal fly home ticket whenever it's scheduled for. Then I went to the resort desk to ask about rooms, saying I was stranded unexpectedly. They actually did have some affordable rooms available because of weekday discount, so I got housing and still had money left over for touristy stuff. Fortunate. I went sightseeing and relaxed on the beach for 3 days until Meg's parents ran into me. They were taking a sunset walk and did a double take seeing me on the beach. They said they thought I was going home, and I said I decided to stay. They were angry because they saw me staying and using the return flight as having deceiving them into thinking I couldn't afford a vacation and using them for flights, when I told them I could actually afford things. No, you're not the asshole. This family is an ass. Why are you friends with this person? This is no way to treat a friend of your child. This is also no way to treat your child. What the fuck? Yeah. I agree. Meg should have warned OP that this is how the family functions. This is literally insane. Who takes someone to another city, state, or country and then just abandons them there. I realize you're a young adult and obviously more capable of handling yourself, but if you were my child, that family would be getting a piece of my mind. If they harass you again, complain to security. That's fucking crazy. Although it sounds like she had a nice vacation after that. Not the asshole. Too bad Meg didn't leave with you and let pops and bros do the cooking. Poor Meg's family may have money, but they have no class. Yup. They took you to a foreign country under false pretenses. Luckily, you had some money because if you were broke and they canceled your ticket, you'd be completely vulnerable and reliant on strangers' charity. Exactly. It's a good thing she'd saved up money for that. Mostly the friend's family, but the friend and not warning her is shitty. Absolutely. 100%. 100% agree. Meg is not your friend. She definitely knew the situation she was putting you in and didn't think to give you a rundown before asking you to join. You had every right to stay and enjoy your vacation. Exactly. I love that the airline secured her ticket home for her. That's so nice of them. She must have explained to them that since she was in a foreign country, where did she say they took? Did she say where they went? No, I don't think it said where they went. she must have explained to the airline what was going on. The airline was like, "Oh, girl, we got you." Especially if this was like a foreign country, you know. So, wow. Okay. A nice vacation, though. You know, free plane tickets are always nice. Plane tickets can be very expensive. Not the asshole because you were invited as a servant. That's why you were your friend's third choice. As the boy she wanted couldn't be expected to cook and clean, I bet the girl was too independent to put up with their shit. What are the chances that OP is POC? That's true. I'm glad she didn't put up with it, though. They are basically holding you hostage thinking you are poor and not being able to afford your own way by cleaning and cooking. OP said, yeah, they were honestly so shocked when they found out I bought myself a week at the resort they were staying in, which honestly makes things very sketchy. If they thought I didn't even have $1,000 and kicked me out in a foreign country with nowhere to stay and no way home, what did they want to happen to me? Because I know for sure it wasn't that I could afford to stay and then get home safe when they saw when I saw how mad they were that I didn't do that. Probably expecting to come back begging for their help, yeah. Probably expecting to come back begging to be their help. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Max, you get off work in 20 minutes? I assume you get off at 5. Please don't tell me they invited the brown girl to have her cook for the family. I swear to God. I would really like to know if OP is a person of color or not, because that would make this even more, and if the family is white, because that would make this even more fucked up. Alright, it'll probably be a short stream today then, because we didn't get to hang out last night. And I also had, you know, a 7-hour stream last night, so I feel like I've earned a short stream today. Maybe I'll stream some Valo late night tonight. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, we'll do a couple more and then we'll call it a night. All right. Only so much you can talk for. Yeah, I guess. Am I the asshole for leaving my in-laws' house with my daughter after she told me she was feeling uncomfortable? No. Listening to your child's needs does not make you the asshole. In almost any situation. I, male 37, have been with my fiance, female 37, for 2 years. We're getting married soon, and I've only met her family a couple of times. My daughter, Judy, 16 female, has never met them till very recently, where they hosted a dinner to celebrate the 4th of July, and that's when they met her for the first time. Judy has a visible burn scar on her forehead. It was due to an accident she had when she was 9. She used to be incredibly insecure about it to the point where I was forced to homeschool her, and it was hard trying to deal with and navigate through this rough time. Now she's doing a lot better, though some comments can really cause her to become stressed out and anxious. Understandable. My fiance knows all of that and respects it. Before we went to her parents' house, I asked her to tell them about Judy and her struggle and to try not to say anything negative about it or possibly mention it. She said she would guarantee no one will say anything. We got to the event and they talked to Judy and she slowly warmed up to them. Everything was going well till it was dinner time. My future mother-in-law looked at Judy while she was eating and pointed to her scar, basically asking questions about it, which made Judy lose her appetite and start to get uncomfortable. I kept sending my fiance and her mom signals to knock it off, but to no avail. Finally, future mother-in-law brought up the wedding and asked my fiance if it'd be possible to Photoshop the scar out of the wedding photos that will have Judy in them, just in case they distract viewers. Oh my god. I was dumbfounded. Fiance said nothing and just stared casually while nodding. I looked at Judy and it was clear this got to her. I leaned closer and asked if she was feeling uncomfortable and that we could leave if the answer was yes. She took her time and then nodded and said, yes, I'm feeling uncomfortable. I got up and told her to get ready because we're leaving. My fiance, her mom, and the family started insisting we finish dinner and stay, but I refused. I took Judy and got in the car and left before even talking to my fiance. Wow. Obviously, she was pissed. She called and was angry, talking about how I disrespected her parents by taking Judy and leaving in the middle of dinner, and not even, quote-unquote, saying goodbye. I told her that Judy was feeling uncomfortable with mother-in-law's comments and questions. She said Judy overreacted and needs to go back to therapy if the simple mention of her scar caused her to react that way. I got tired of arguing and asked her to give us some time, but she went on with me and said that I have no respect for her and her family, and that what I did was irrational, and now she won't speak to me till I clear up things with her family after ruining their celebratory dinner. Yikes. Not the asshole. You are absolutely not the asshole. What the fuck? I'm interested to know how big this scar is. Like, is it like a little scar? I assume it's not a little scar if the future mother-in-law requested that the scar be photoshopped out of pictures. Because a lot of people have scars on their faces. Everything from acne scarring to accidents of, like, hitting your face on stuff when you're a kid. Like, there's a lot of people have scars on their faces from things. But I wonder if this is, like, because burn scars are very specific types of scars. I wonder if it's, like, a pretty large one. Because I would imagine it would have to be. Because, like, while kids will make fun of anything, a small scar on your face usually isn't something people are going to pick on you for as kids. Like, kids are they're very mean, but if it's like a small scar on your face, it's very unlikely they're going to pick out that thing to make fun of you about. So it's got to be a pretty sizable scar, right? Which, if she was bullied about it to the point that they had to pull her out of school, then of course it's going to be a sensitive subject. Like, how does your fiance not understand that? Your fiancé has shown her true colors. She doesn't, in fact, care about your daughter. If she did, she would have realized that your future mother-in-law suggesting that you Photoshop the scar out is hella insulting. If I were you, I would rethink the wedding and that family. They owe you and Judy an apology, not the other way around. True, it is possible. Maybe the fiancé put her mom up to make the suggestion. Maybe she is the one uncomfortable with the scar in the photos, but didn't want to be the one to say it. I don't understand why you would want to Photoshop someone's scar out. That's how they look, and it's pretty insulting to say that their appearance is that gross to you. Yeah, it's not like you're editing out the zits the bride has on her face out of the photos. Like, you know, it's not like you're editing out some acne. Like, this is a scar. This is a part of this person, you know? Like, that'd be like when I eventually get top surgery, having someone asking if they can edit out my top surgery scars out of like the beach photo or something. Like, no, fuck you. Like, maybe I will want to if they're bad scars, but it's rude of you to ask. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, that's so fucked up. That would be so shitty if it was the fiance all along. Yeah, that's fucking diabolical. Now, not only did she not shut it down, but she nodded in agreement. Yeah, that's sus. Your fiance's mother needs to apologize. Who points to someone, especially a child's face, and goes, wow, that scar is ugly. I hope we can Photoshop her face in the wedding photos. Yeah, my fiance justified it as a joke, saying her mom didn't mean it that way, and didn't know that this was going to happen. I disagree because I already told her about how Judy feels about it, yet got ignored. She was testing her boundaries. Absolutely. Absolutely. You will definitely be a giant asshole if you marry this woman who bullies your daughter and lets her parents do it too. Yeah. It's one thing to be like, oh, how'd you get your scar? Unless you've been informed that that's not a question you should ask because the child is very sensitive about it. But asking someone how they got their scar is a pretty common thing for people, especially with a massive facial scar, to be asked. Most people with a scar like that are used to being asked questions like that. You know, like if are people who are born with like the discoloration birthmarks on their face, I'm sure they get asked all the time, is that a bruise or is it like, what is that? Like, what happened to your face? I'm sure they're used to those kinds of questions. It's one thing to be like, oh, how'd you get your scar? But it's another to be like, ew, we need to Photoshop that out of the wedding photos. Disgusting. You know, like, what the fuck? You're a full-grown adult and you're making fun of the 16-year-old? What the fuck is wrong with you? Wedding needs to be put on hold until you figure this shit out. Absolutely. 100%. Oh, disgusting. Oh, homophobia. Alright, am I the asshole for not treating my wife like an equal parent by telling her she has no say in the way I bond with my son, and also calling her homophobic? The way this is phrased means this story might be quite interesting. Okay. I, 37 male, was 17, got my then girlfriend 16, pregnant with twin boys. Yikes. Her parents didn't want the babies to, quote, ruin her future, so they said that I either need to take them or give them up for adoption because she was not raising them. Which is, I guess, understandable. Oh, thank you, Barry, for the follow. I appreciate the follow. I hope you're enjoying the stream. We love a teenage pregnancy, don't we? Instant reaction is yes, but go on. Yes as in, like, not the asshole? Or, like, what do you mean yes? Huh? Yes to which part? With the delay, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Oh, my instant reaction is yes, you're the asshole. I think you might be behind again. Be behind again, dear. I wanted to get them up, but my parents told me not to. For the first 7 years of my boys' lives, I didn't act like a father and was more like a big brother. They knew I was their father, though, but we never really bonded like father and son. When I was ready to move out, I wanted to do it without them, but my dad let me know it was my responsibility, so I had to take them. I didn't want it at first, but I'm glad that it happened. We started bonding as father and sons, and I started loving them, and their love for me increased. I remember the three of us would sit on the couch to watch movies. One would sit on my left, one on the right, and while I wrapped my arms around them, they'd put their heads on my chest, and I often kissed their forehead. We've been doing this since they were 7. Ooh, another new follow. Hello, Squant. Welcome. You got the whole Reddit creator team watching you right now. We love your stream. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, not treating her like an equal parent sounds like shit. Yes, I agree. That's the part that gives me like pause. I'm like, oops, sus. Let's see. So we've been doing this since they were 7. I met my current wife 5 years ago. My kids were 15. We married 3 years ago after we welcomed our daughter 4. She saw me doing this with my kids when we watched the movies, and she never said anything. My kids are no longer living with us because they left for college, but they came home to see me every now and then. My boys are 20 now, but they still like to put their heads on my chest while I wrap my arms around them, you know, because it's a tradition. My son, Liam, visited me 2 weeks ago. He came out as gay and introduced me to his boyfriend. I don't care how my kids live their lives with their sexuality or who they love. I love them no matter what. I just want them to be happy, and I don't feel any different. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable to hug him or kiss his forehead, but it seems that my wife is a little uncomfortable. My son visited me again last weekend, since he was here on 2 weeks ago, so the first time officially out. I was watching Bread with my daughter. She was on my left, and my son Liam arrived, and he was tired and sat on my right. He put his head on my shoulder while I wrapped my arm around him, and I kissed his forehead and said, "Good to have you back, buddy." We went to sleep the next day, and my wife told me that it made her feel uncomfortable, me hugging and kissing my son, and asking me not to do it again while she doesn't mind me doing it with Lucas, my other son, who is straight. She doesn't want me to do it with Liam. I told her that she has no business being in my relationship with my sons. I also called her homophobic. She accused me of not treating her like an equal parent to my sons. Thus I said, that's okay because you aren't. My brother says I should understand because this is a big change for her, a son coming out. But seriously, I think there is nothing to get used to. This isn't neither her nor my problem who my son loves. I think since your sons are fully grown, this makes you not the asshole. Like, I think you saying you're not an equal parent to them makes sense because they were pretty, let's see, how old were they? My kids were 15 when we married. So, you know, they're almost full grown at that point. You know, like they're almost like college age, moving out at that point. And you all got married once they were 17. So at that point they were graduating and moving on to college, at which point you don't really get to parent them as much anymore. So I kind of understand the whole you're not an equal parent to them because like I raised them and you came in kind of at the end. I can kind of understand that to a degree, especially with her being homophobic towards the gay son. That's very clearly homophobic. That is very blatant homophobia. And especially since they're 20 years old at this point, I feel like your wife needs to step off. You know what I mean? This is kind of a weird one. But I'm gonna go with not the asshole because your wife is kind of being a homophobic bitch. So let's see what the comments have to say down here. Not the asshole, she's being homophobic. The world needs more dads like you. Absolutely. Let's see. If she had a boy who was straight, then it would be a bad idea for her to kiss his forehead and hug him because he might get the hots for his mom. Is that the like logic she's going through? That's kind of what it feels like, isn't it? Yikes. Not the asshole. Your wife is sexualizing a gesture that is from parental love. I would be offended and tell her that she's being disgusting. At 15, your boys were being raised fine when she entered their life, so she really doesn't have any say. Absolutely. I agree with this. And I'm not saying that, like, if you adopt a kid at 15, that doesn't make them your kid. You've adopted them. You've not just entered their life. You've, like, taken them in as your own. And she's just married their father. You know what I mean? Like, those are very different things. Especially, like, I don't know any more about their relationship. Like, I don't know how much more involved she was with getting them, you know, to like how much she was involved while they were just dating and not married, how much she was involved after they were married. Like I'm not really sure because obviously they don't say. So maybe there were other issues going on as well. That kind of prompted the "you're not really their parent" comment. I doubt it was just this. So because that seems like a really harsh comment to make for one thing, even if that thing is homophobia. So yeah, she's absolutely sexualizing this parental gesture. Like that's so, it's not like he's kissing him on the lips. Like that would be weird to kiss your grown son on the lips, gay or not, but it's a forehead kiss. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like I love the first 3 paragraphs of this post. Your parents really did right by you, and in turn you ultimately did right by your boys. Absolutely, I agree. I think that his parents did a really good job of, like, yes, I feel like teens should be allowed to give up their kids if they want to, but at the same time, putting kids into the system is never a good thing, and it rarely ends well. Although with twin boys, they actually likely would have been separated. So with twins, it might not have ended well. If they just had one kid, it might have ended up better because babies tend to get adopted pretty quickly. But yeah, I think that these kids had the best life they could have ended up with in this situation. Especially because their dad ended up not being a homophobic bitch, you know what I mean? Current's wife's problem, though, first, she is not an equal parent when it comes to your boys. They're yours, not hers. They were already teenagers by the time she showed up. She doesn't really get a say in how you bond with them. Second, she is indeed a homophobe. There is nothing wrong with the father kissing and hugging his son, of course, but that she needs to make it about one of your boys' orientation is just revolting. Not the asshole a million times over. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Yeah, this does feel kind of typical. Few things prompt a "you're not really their parent" comment. So, all right, we have time for one more, and then we're gonna call it a day on the stream today. Let's see. All these are not listed as not the asshole. Interesting. Usually you at least find one here in the top that's listed as, yeah, you're the fucking asshole. Okay, this is a... I wish I knew if this was a guy or a girl, and that would make things more interesting. Let's see. Ooh, this sounds good. Alright. Am I the asshole for canceling the family trip after I found out my wife had canceled my son's ticket? Ooh, spicy. My first instinct is no, not the asshole, but let's read. Situation is a bit messy, so bear with me. I, male, 42, have 2 boys, Adam 16 and Leo 14. Their mom passed away 5 years ago, and I married my wife Rose about a year ago. Rose adores both of my boys, but complains about Leo being overly uptight and closed up. It's true, he likes to keep to himself, and he doesn't participate in most family functions, but that's just how he is. My wife has taken it personally and kept saying that Leo clearly doesn't like her and or doesn't like spending time with her. Immediate no, yeah. What she started doing was try to exclude him from events under the excuse of he wouldn't be interested anyway, which I thought was wrong because he picked up on that and started asking why. So I told my wife to just drop it, or I told my wife to just do her part. Sorry, I can't read. And then giving him the choice to decide whether he wants to participate or not and not outright exclude him. Absolutely. I'd been arranging for a family trip, and days ago I booked tickets, hotel reservations, upon deciding our destination. Note that I was paying for the entire thing, but the day of the trip I found out that Leo's ticket had been canceled. I'm sorry, is it Leo 14? I was dumbfounded to discover it was my wife who canceled it, and I immediately confronted her, and she said she figured Leo wouldn't want to come, but she knew he said he'd go. She tried to argue that due to his quote-unquote moody personality and introvert nature, he'd change his mind last minute or go on the trip and it'd turn into a miserable experience for all of us. I got so mad at her, especially after she tried pressuring me to leave him with his aunt. I canceled the entire trip, all tickets, all reservations, everything. She blew at me and started lashing out. I had the boys unpack and I did the same, which made her go crazy and yell at everyone in the house. I would have just made her stay home. And gone on the trip with my boys. Nah, you can fucking stay home. I'll be going with my kids. Bye. That's what I would have done. She went to stay with her sister while exposing what I did to the rest of the family who thought I made a big deal out of it and shouldn't have canceled the trip that I promised the whole family. I'm planning another trip with the boys without my wife, but right now there's a huge conflict in the family, and even Adam is upset and blames Leo for what happened. I'm trying to get everyone to calm down, and we'll see where this goes. It makes sense. He's only 2 years older, so that makes sense that that's how Adam would respond. But I'm sure you can educate him to understand that why this is not appropriate behavior. Edit 3, I've decided, and following some opinions here, to speak to Adam to see exactly why he blames Leo for what happened. He just got home and about to get him into a separate room for a private talk to be able to hear his side from this and find out why he feels this way. If there's any relevant information, I'll add. Okay, I spoke with Adam. Turns out Rose told him I canceled the trip after Leo changed his mind last minute, and that I decided to cancel it for everyone else and fought with her when she tried to convince me to go anyway. I don't know what to say, to be frankly honest. Adam didn't even want to talk, but I told him we needed to. He and Leo aren't speaking right now because of this, and I'm struggling to try to clean up this mess. I was actually thinking about calling Rose, but after this I've decided I need more space than she does. I will have the boys sit together. It's hard to do, but I'll try and talk and put this into focus on the other major issue I have with what Rose did. Jesus Christ. So, okay. Divorce. Divorce is my first instinct because your wife is treating your son like a second-class citizen. Like, introverts like to go on vacation too, god damn it. Like, what the fuck? Like, she has no right to do this, first of all, and she's trying to turn your other son against him by just blatantly lying. Oh, God. You need to divorce this woman, like, right now. Your wife canceled your son's reservation because she didn't want to go on vacation with him. Your son is 14. Yeah. Canceling the trip was absolutely the right thing to do. Personally, like I said, I would have just said, well, you can stay home. I'll be taking him with me. Instead of canceling the trip in its entirety. Because you already had it booked and everything. And you could have just gone on the trip anyways, especially if the 14-year-old didn't actually say he didn't want to go. She's too immature to handle him, yeah. She doesn't adore both your boys. She clearly doesn't like Leo and would prefer to just not have to deal with them. There's no reasonable explanation for his behavior. You're not the asshole. Your wife is attempting to exclude one of your children from multiple family activities. She isn't asking for his input and then trying to accommodate his desires. She's simply trying to leave him out of it. This is about her, not him. Sorry to say, but it appears you may have to make a choice between your wife and your son in the future. Choose wisely. Agreed. In the bin. In the bin. Not the asshole for now, but more needs to be done. As someone who had a step-parent like this, I can't tell you enough about the lasting impact it had on me until my early 30s. Your son will know what's going on, and it will hurt him. Your relationship with Rose is new, but your relationship with your son is for life. Please take your kids on a trip without her to connect and reassure your boys you love them for who they are. And there's nothing wrong with being introverted. But as a father, you have to show your commitment to them early. It will impact their relationship as brothers as well if you let Rose continue this behavior. Absolutely, because it's clear Rose is trying to drive a wedge between the two sons. And as someone whose parents did that with me and my older siblings, it took many, many years before, specifically the younger of my two older siblings, making us think that he was a terrible person and just really bad at everything and was really terrible and awful. And it wasn't until I got old enough and was also excluded from family things that I started spending time with him and understanding that, in fact, my parents had poisoned us against him. And it's really damaging. It can be really damaging to relationships and stuff. But now he's basically the only family member I spend time with. So, at least of the internal family. There's some extended family I spend time with. So, absolutely, you need to drop this woman. This is so toxic and unsafe for your child. So, I agree with a lot of what these comments are saying. If he doesn't address this now, then he's the asshole for not sticking up for his son. Absolutely. But it seems he's on the right track, because his first instinct was to just cancel the whole trip. So that's good. I am going to trust his father. I had a stepmother like this when I was young. My dad just enabled her. And once I was an adult with my own life going on, she ditched him for his best friend, and I couldn't have been happier to see the karma. I'm nearly 40 now, and my dad and I enjoy each other's company to a degree, but we're not close, and I'll never forgive him for allowing the emotional neglect and abuse to carry on for years. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. He needs to drop her, because it's clear this has been happening, and it will continue to happen. It is going to continue to happen, and you're not going to be able to stop her from doing it. So, eat. Yeet. Get her the fuck out of there. it's interesting because like I said, I can kind of relate to this, not from like a step parent perspective, but from a straight up parent perspective, poisoning me against my siblings. From that perspective, like, absolutely. Yeah, OP should have given the ticket to Leo and left her ass at home to receive the divorce papers. Absolutely. I don't know if you're joking, but I really would be thinking about a divorce if she did that to my son. Absolutely. 100%. And then that's when he said he's planning a new one. Yep. You still listening?
What?
You enjoying the stream?
I am enjoying the stream.
I quite enjoyed the subreddit. It's a really good one.
It is a fun subreddit.
It's one of my favorites because it not only is a good conversation starter, but it's like you get so much juicy drama.
Yeah, no, you should stream this regularly.
Yeah, this is great. I enjoy this a lot. I might start doing these more often. Although we'll have to see how that changes when I get a job, but you know, because I'm not looking forward to it, Max. Alrighty, I'm gonna call it there for today. Short stream today, I know, but yesterday was 7 hours long. I'll let y'all know if I decide to do any late streams tonight. It is unlikely, but possible. I will see you all tomorrow, though. We'll either be playing Stray or we will be editing some Umbrella Academy. Thank you for the new followers. I appreciate you for being here. I do look forward to doing this subreddit more often. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. Go watch my Stranger Things video that I posted on YouTube if you haven't already. We worked really hard on it as a chat. Many hours were spent on it, so please go watch it. Thank you very much. And I will see you all when I see you all. Thanks for hanging out. Goodbye.